Hey, welcome into the Badger Connect podcast. I'm your host, Mike Heller. Hey, look at I open up and there's this other guy on my screen that some of you, many of you, all of you know who he is. I get the honor of welcoming Brian Butch to Badger Connect. He's our newest member, and here he is right here in the flesh. Brian Butch is a member now of Badger Connect. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. I'm excited for this opportunity. I'm excited to continue obviously working alongside Matt on the basketball side of it, teaching, talking the game, living Wisconsin basketball, living Wisconsin athletics. Now, this is my way to kind of, continue to be a part of it and do it in a way that is so relevant to the way that I grew up in the state of Wisconsin as a kid. So yeah. I'm excited.
Where'd you grow up now?
Appleton? The good old city of Appleton, but the good side, the good side, the Appleton West side, not the east.
On the rich side, on the side that didn't. You weren't on the mean streets of the south side of Appleton. You Silver Spoon and all that stuff.
I don't know about that. That's the north side. Neither one of us lived on the north side.
He told me that's what Pops told me. He said, "Yeah, Brian, I had all the advantages in life from day one."
Yeah.
Hey, we honestly really are. You and I have known each other a very long time and have gotten to be very good friends over the course of times. And I'm really excited to add you in. Badger Connect is a unique concept that we continue to evolve as we work through it. At some level, obviously, there are different elements to what we do. We're a content provider. That's what Jesse Temple does on a regular basis, and many of you are certainly familiar with what he does. I'm a content provider with the podcast that goes every Thursday, and I'll do more stuff in that regard. And there's another element to what we do, and well, two more pillars. The next pillar is the experiential part of Badger Connect. From those who are members of Badger Connect, know that we offer experiences both as prize giveaways and as opportunities just as premium members of Badger Connect. And then, Brian, part of what you're going to be doing is our community outreach side. So why don't you walk us through what that is, how it launches, and what it's going to do?
Yeah, well, this is what I'm really passionate about. Obviously, I've been in the media for a long time now, which is something I enjoy. But I've been running youth basketball camps for about 16 years. And I started them with the vision of how do I make Wisconsin kids better? Like, how do I give back? How do I find a way to do that? Because I had a platform. I played at the University of Wisconsin. A lot of people knew who I was. So then the next thought process was, how do I help? And my vision was through basketball camps. And that's kind of what I've done. Well, now because of Badger Connect, I get a chance to be able to be a part of Wisconsin athletes having multiple touch points throughout the state of Wisconsin with Badger Connect communities. And I think that's the biggest thing that I look for it. In year one, our goal is going to try to be to touch 40 different communities where they're going to have access to athletes. They're going to be able to have virtual meetings with them. Some of them are going to be able to have some in person. Some of them are going to be able to come down and visit the Cole Center or Camp Randall or a facility and see exactly what it is to be a Badger. And I think that's so cool to be able to offer that to younger kids. Not every kid could make their way down to Madison. I grew up in Appleton. It's 2 hours away. Did I always have a chance to go to a Badger basketball game? Did I have a chance to meet Badger athletes? No, I didn't. And this program, the vision is to be able to connect Wisconsin athletes with student athletes throughout the whole state of Wisconsin, whether you're in Rhinelander, whether you're in Racine, whether you're in Madison, whether you're in the Door County area. Like, that's the ability that these athletes have. And as a player, when I played at Wisconsin, I thought it was so unique to be able to go visit schools.
Yeah.
Go visit American Children's Hospital, be able to have an impact on kids. There was nothing there, and still to this day, there's nothing better than when you have a young kid look up to you and say, "You're my favorite player." like those are moments that change you as a human being, not as a basketball player, not as an athlete, but it changes you as a human being. And all these athletes that come through the University of Wisconsin, they have the ability to be a superstar
Yeah.
in our young athletes. And I get the chance to be able to initiate that, set up the phone calls, set up the Zooms, set up what, the interaction of what that can be. The beautiful thing about it is, I think what we're trying to build here is it's the University of Wisconsin, but it's also teaching the athletes at Wisconsin with the way that NIL is now. It's not just you have to show up. It's, hey, you've got to show up,
Yeah.
but you've got to be a role model.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to impact so many kids. And like that's what the NIL world was built on, Mike, is hey, this is how we should do things. And this is what the idea and the vision was. And some universities have gotten away from that. With Badger Connect communities and the community relations side of it that I'll be focused on. I'm spoiled that I get to do this. I really am, because it's my passion to be able to connect Nolan Winter with one of the great, with a young player in, I'll just use Rhineland, right? Like that they get to interact with each other and they get to have a conversation. So these schools will have a chance to be able to have a couple of Zooms throughout the year, have a couple of chances every month. They'll be getting a video from a Wisconsin player, which I think is really cool. And then we'll also be giving them some memorabilia, which I think is really cool, because then the schools are able to raise some money, whether that's jerseys, basketballs, footballs, whatever it might be. But there's different ways that they can then kind of, raise some money for their communities. So I think this is when I've always had these initial conversations, I said, how does this going to work, and what are we going to do, and how are we going to go about it? I said, the only thing I really want is to create that win-win situation where the athletes are benefiting, the communities are benefiting, and now all of a sudden we've created an opportunity where the University of Wisconsin athletes can then affect young kids.
Yeah.
And those young kids can still affect those athletes and say, hey, this is what we're supposed to be about. This is how we're supposed to do this. And I think that's the biggest thing. And, you've talked about Badger Connect and what it looks like and how it operates. I know there's still people out there that don't know what Badger Connect is. Like, I think that's the reality. There's people that I've talked to that have said, well, what exactly is Badger Connect? The content that Jesse puts out there, that you're putting out there, it's elite. It's some of the best Badger content that you want. So if you want that, you go and you subscribe to Badger Connect. But also, I think the biggest thing that probably isn't talked enough about that's happened in the first year, because Badger Connect is going on a year, is all the experiences, whether it's the chalk talks, whether it's the football sideline passes, whether it's suites opportunities that you get, whether it's tailgates before, whether it's member-only Zooms, whatever that might be. Like, those are the opportunities that are there for Badger Connect. And now that year 2 is starting, it's that next pillar. It's that next tier of, okay, now, because the opportunity has been there, we get a chance to now go affect other communities. And I think that's the coolest thing about Badger Connect, is the vision that so many have had of what this can become. Yes, it's a way to be able to put great content out there, have fun, meet and recognize what Wisconsin players are. Yes, it's a unique experiences. Maybe it's an autographed football. Maybe it's premium tickets. Maybe it's, behind the scenes access, all that. But then there's that third layer of, no, now we get to impact others, as well as with the content, with the behind the scenes. Now it's, you can't, or I can't make it to Madison.
Yeah.
Because that was me as a kid.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest thing, is now we can bring a bit of Madison to you. I've been asked this a lot. Like, what makes the University of Wisconsin special? It's tough to answer that if you haven't played there, because it's a different vibe. And as far as an athlete wise, like, what makes it different? Why is there a brotherhood? We've looked at this, and obviously there's a search for a new AD coming on. Well, there's former athletes that are on that search committee. Why? Because they care. I'll go basketball wise. Like, Michael Finley doesn't need to be on that search committee. There's not a part of Michael Finley that needs to be on that search committee. Why is he on the search committee for it? Because he cares. He shows up. we Big Ten tournament. He was there scouting for Dallas, and we gave a chance to talk to him because we're all Badgers. But it's the opportunity of understanding what wearing this W means and how you have to represent yourself and how you have to give back to others and how you, as a group, you have a platform to have such a huge impact. And I think that's the coolest thing that, like I said, I'm spoiled to be able to handle this community relations and be a part of it. I'll be the touch point for all of our community directors. I'll be doing monthly Zooms with everybody that's a director. We'll be having conversations about, hey, how do we get this? And who was your best school? You know, who was your best team this month? And yeah, let's set up a Zoom or a video message with so-and-so to be able to congratulate your team. Like, to me, that's what college athletics still is about.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And you know, you talked about a few times in there about there's obviously a benefit to the communities in the outreach and some of those kids who are going to get some attention from big time college athletes. But I think it's really important to understand that many times the real winner there is the athlete himself or herself, who gets to have that touch point with a small community or a medium-sized community in a part of Wisconsin maybe they've never been to, and they get an understanding of how special it is when somebody wearing that Motion W cares and gets to communicate with a community that they've never been to.
Absolutely. And I think, to me, the biggest thing is, like, yes, those communities are going to get some really cool opportunities, and it's going to spark a fire in those young kids. There's no question. But it's also teaching the University of Wisconsin athletes that, hey, like, this is what this is built on. This is the way you do it. Being a former athlete there and being able to connect with some of the athletes and say, hey, like this, or just say, hey, like, the video is sent.
Yeah.
That's not what we do here. Or this is how we represent ourselves. And this is the way we do it. Like, those are all things that I think are such an important factor. Like, now that I'm old, you look back upon it and you say, like, it's your job to teach the next group and the next group and the next group how to represent that. Like, why has Wisconsin basketball had so much success? Because it's passed down. Like, Mike Wilkinson took me back to the woodshed and beat me up time and time again and said, all right, this is what we do. And then hopefully I did that to Keaton Nankiville. And it, like, those are, that's how it happens. That's how the success has happened for so long on the basketball side. But it also happens throughout that whole athletic department as far as what the expectations are. And this Badger Connect Communities is just another example of how athletes can learn from other athletes about how we represent the university, but also what you get and what you learn. And I think that's the biggest thing too. Like, our communities throughout the state, like, we're different. Like, we're Wisconsinites. We're different. Like, it's just, I'm one of them. I grew up, like, we're just different, and that's good. Like, so, but now you get kids coming in from different states and they understand what is ingrained in this state, what makes this state so special.
Sure. Yeah.
So that when they do put the jersey on and they're cheering for them, they realize, whoa, like, this is bigger than Madison. This is like, this connects with the whole state. And I talked to so-and-so and wow, like, now, like, they get it as well.
So we didn't do this back when you were a kid. So why were you always a Badger? You could have gone anywhere. You're a McDonald's All-American when you choose to come to the University of Wisconsin as an incoming freshman in 2004. Why were you always a Badger?
Well, I wasn't always a Badger. That was, like, I mean, that's the thing, Mike. Like, I knew it was important. I knew what the university represented. I knew there was a basketball program under Dick Bennett, and before that, Stu, that was turning it the right, like, guys like Howard Moore that built that when I talk about what it means to be a Badger, like, Howard is still the guy that, to me, is always like, you want to know what a Badger is? You want to know how to represent yourself? You go see Howard Moore. You like, that's what he is. And that's what his teammates are. But for me, like, the process of becoming a Badger, I'm different. Like, I like having the pressure. I
Yeah.
liked understanding what it means. I know it's a conversation that will come up as far as, why have in-state kids not stayed? Like, I get that, but the pressure that it comes when you decide to stay in state is a pressure that not many kids can handle, especially when you're a top recruit. But I looked at all the schools, and there was one reason that I decided Wisconsin was the best. I loved what Bo was doing. I was a stretch big before stretch bigs were a thing, with the swing to be able to pick and pop and space the floor. Like, thought it fit my game, but there was the vision of we can achieve great things here. We can get to a Final Four. We can do that. And representing the state of Wisconsin was going to set me up for life after basketball as well. And that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't think in-state kids understand that still to this day. Now, the money's different. So maybe if they do if they do get more money somewhere else, or if, it's equal or however that plays out. Like, I don't have a statewide radio show. I don't work for the Big Ten Network. I definitely don't have the Badger Connect communities where I can impact young kids with, current Badgers. Like, my career after basketball, and I played 10 years. I coached 2 years in the G League, and then I got into the media world. And none of that, like the 10 years playing, if I don't go to Wisconsin, I can play 10 years anywhere. I can maybe get in the G League somewhere and coach like I did for 2 years. But the media side, as I call this home, like the rest of it, the last 8 to 10 years doesn't exist if I don't stay at home. Like, I've talked with Joe Wolf, or I talked with Joe Wolf, and, that by itself is another sad guy that's gone way too soon. I talked with him about his time at Carolina. When I took my visit to Carolina, they brought Joe there to talk, and he loved everything about it. But the one thing that I asked him was, like, is Wisconsin still home? His answer was yes.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's different because Wisconsinites take you in. They represent you. They're a part of it. Like, they now, like, oh, we love you, Butchie. The longer you've been away, like, we love your personality now, and we love what you're about, and you love this place. And because it's the people. And I, like, it's not just the people at the university, it's the people you represent.
Yeah.
It's who you are. It's Wisconsin. Like, it's Wisconsin. It's the going, it's the, going to the random garage at a garage sale and having fun. Like, it's just, it's, you know what I mean? It's, you're walking through the crowd of people at a football game. They yell, Butchie, you throw your hand up, and it's like, hey, let's go. And like, we all can connect. And like, us Wisconsinites, weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, certainly you are.
Yes, but like in a good way. Like, it's like,
that's what I meant.
Midwest people, like, we all love each other. We're all happy. Like, and that's, to me, what this life we live should be about. Like, there's enough bad in this world. I don't need bad when I'm out and about at a baseball game or football game or basketball game. Like, we're here to escape the real world.
Hey, when you think back of your time as a player here, I mean, it's a roller coaster journey. It's not smooth. Not everything is how you probably envisioned it. I'm sure you had a plan, and then the plan changed. What jumps out to you when you recall your run of time as a player at Wisconsin? What are those key moments, those significant memories of your journey here as a player?
It's the work. Like, I've embraced that. I don't know, coming out of high school, if I could say I embraced the work. But the life lessons that I've learned, as far as, like, things aren't always going to go your way. And from 18 to 22-year-old, like, you don't know that. Like, you think you know, but you don't know that. So by the time I got done at 22, or 23, I had more life experience from failures through basketball that prepared me for life, that prepared me for being cut overseas and having to go fight for my paycheck because they weren't going to pay me in Greece. Having to understand, like, hey, you better figure this thing out in the G League D-League at that point, and putting together a string of 22 straight double-doubles to be able to get a call-up and, be the All-Star Game MVP and to be able to play, and be a part of the Denver Nuggets for a short time. Like, those are the things you learn, and you learn it as an 18 to 22-year-old at Madison. And I think that's what I remember the most. I remember a lot of the losses because I'm wired that way. There was only 11 of them the last 2 years we played. And I think people forget how good the teams that we were on and what we could have done. To this day, I still, Greg and Bo both talk about that sophomore year that could have been. And they talk about that junior year that could have been and said that group might have been as good as the Final Four teams.
Right.
And we'll never know because of an injury. That's what I love and hate about sports. Your season by the fan is measured by March.
Yeah.
And I said this when I had a radio show. I'll say I don't agree with that. Like, you can't tell me that last year's basketball season was a failure. Can't tell me it. I saw every game, sat courtside for every game. By no means was that a failure. Losing in the first round, did that hurt? Absolutely. But that season's not a failure. Like, now, to the common fan that jumps in the last week of February and joins in March, they might think it is, but it's not. You learn those. And I think that's the thing. And I will say, like, I'm really proud of the way that we ended my senior year. Even though we lose to Steph, there's a championship that you're a big part of. 2 of them, regular season and tournament. Like, we didn't have to share with anybody. Nobody can say we won the tournament. No. We were the best team in the Big Ten that year.
Yeah.
And to start the year off, nobody thought we were going to be. And I think just understanding that, like, nothing is going to be given to you. You're going to work. You're going to work hard. And if you do that, and listen, you're going to put yourself in a position to do some special things. And I hope I pass that lesson down to my kids.
Yeah.
Because that's ultimately what that's life, man.
Yeah. You were talking about that junior and senior year. Junior year, you're talking about a team that in Wisconsin that got ranked all the way up to number 1 during the regular season, had the 1-versus-2 showdown, which you get hurt in, and that's the injury that you weren't able to fully come back from. The loss to Steph is the Sweet 16 loss to Davidson and Steph Curry. And then I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to skip, but I want to come back to the 10 years in between then that you played professionally overseas and in the NBA a little bit. But how much did being an athlete and going through some of your hardships, that injury in your junior year, some of the other, how much did that prepare you to handle fatherhood and having a son that has dealt with what you and Megan and your family have dealt with Blake and brain cancer? How much of an athlete's mentality has assisted you in that process?
Yeah, I think it all has. I think there's a lot of things that you realize, like next play mentality.
Yeah.
Well, for us, we live next scan mentality still to this point, as he's had 2 brain surgeries. For us, it's always next scan. And it's really next day.
Yep.
And for us, like, I think that's been the part of it that I've looked at through our journey with our son. Like, we're part of a group, we're part of a team now that nobody wants to be a part of. And that's pediatric cancer, and then it's pediatric brain cancer. And I'll say this, like, the sports and what we learn from Coach Gard and Coach Ryan and Coach Jeter when he was there, and Coach Moore and Coach Close and Henry, like, all those things, all those voices shape you and mold you into the man that you will become.
Yeah.
And that's where these athletes, and I feel bad for them. People are going to say they're getting paid. Well, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Like, and is it life-changing money? Yeah. I mean, for some of it could be. For some of them, it's a nice step in the right direction. But I also think some of those lessons are starting to get lost. And when they get to fatherhood, they get to adulthood, have they learned it as much? And I think to me, like, so when we first found out about our son, the first
Yeah.
person I called was Greg. Now, Greg had just gone through his father's cancer.
Yeah.
And so I said, Greg, like, I'm a dad. I need help. Like, I need help. And he got me in touch with Steve Stricker, and Steve was able to help then direct me with different things. And Jeff Levering called me, and Jeff's got me in touch with people. So when I talk about like, why did I stay at Wisconsin? I don't want to get all, but like for me, like it was meant to be, because down the road, 12 years, 13 years later, whenever I was gone, because I stayed in the state.
Yeah.
All I had was to use was this.
Yeah.
And we got the treatment. We got put in touch with the right people. Could that have happened at another university? Maybe.
Yeah.
I
community was your family, right? I mean, the entire community. When you talk about all of them, from Bo Ryan to Greg Gard, and then that family got to be extended through Steve Stricker and through Jeff Levering and others, and that's where all of this came from. And it's that sense of family and community because you were here for the whole time.
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, to me, that's what set us up for, this is how we handle this.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't like, even to this day, like we haven't necessarily processed it because we're still in it.
Yeah.
So we had a scan recently. Now we live to the next scan. And right now he's trending in the right way. I mean, if you were to see him, he's a 5-year-old little boy loving life.
Yeah.
And none of this matters.
Yeah.
Like that's the craziest thing about all of this. I love every Badger fan. I think it's awesome that they listen to the radio and I get to sit next to Matt LePay and we're able to talk about different things. And they come up to me and talk about the games, the 08 team, the 07 team. But here's the thing. None of that matters when you're a dad.
Yeah.
You're the only thing that, it's not what I did.
Yeah.
It like now we get to talk about others and we get to tell stories, but like our story is about how do you take care of the 3 kids?
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome. They're going around yelling, "Go Bucky, go!" And
Yeah.
even when Tom Izzo sends Blake a message, and then I got to get Michigan State out of his head. Like, dude, we don't cheer for Michigan State.
Right.
Like, coach, I caught Coach Izzo after the game in Madison. I said, "Hey, I got a bone to pick with you." After Wisconsin put a pretty big one on him, and I waited. I was sitting there with Matt, and I was waiting. I was like, "All right," and I was like, "I mean, this was not a good." I said, I'm going to go. I'm going to wait for him. I'm just going to tell him thank you, and that's it. And he came back and he started asking more and more, and like Coach Izzo does. And I said, hey, since he kind of turned the corner, I was not going to ask him. I said, hey, by the way, I got a bigger bone to pick with you. All right, thank you. But now I'm here in Ghost Sparty in my house, and that's unacceptable. So
we can't do that.
We can't do that.
But
that's the family side of it. And then obviously it's bigger. There's respect for what you've done. There's how you've done it. But I think the lessons by Bo and Greg of just like next play, next mentality, like how do you get through the hard times? And that's what I think I say this university, I think that's what this university is built on.
Yeah.
I think and it starts obviously Barry and Pat and everybody, but like the really good teams, it's built on that. Like, and why is it built on that? And I know we talked about the Badger community side of it, but like, why is it built on that? Because the state is built on those people.
Yeah.
Like that's what we
in that
do.
way. And then, and
that's what this state is. Like that's why me and my wife still live here. I didn't think I was going to be living, where we live. I thought I'd be somewhere else. You play all over the world. You see it.
Well, you did. You did.
And like to end up where I'm at, it's because this is home. This represents everything that I love. It represents the neighbors. It represents the people. It represents the mentality. The entitlement, there's not entitlement. Like I don't think entitlement works with Wisconsin personally. Like I think if you get an entitled player here, it's probably not going to work.
Hey Badger fans, Jesse Temple here. If you're the kind of Badger fan who always wants a little more than the final score, that's really what I'm doing at Badger Connect. Each week, I'm sharing stories, interviews, behind-the-scenes insight, and Badger Bites videos to help bring fans a little closer to Wisconsin athletics. It's built for fans who just want more context, more access, more of what's happening around the teams. You can jump in as a starter member for just $10 a month at BadgerConnect.com.
I wanted to just touch on one other thing before we kind of go back to some career-driven stuff. I mean, when we talk about family and community, it seems a lot of times when we have these conversations, we center it around Blake, and I understand that. You know, I'm the one that kind of took us there. But you got a beautiful family of 3 children, you and Megan. I mean, you guys are your own team. And as you've gone through Blake stuff, you've done it as a family. But I mean, your 2 girls, they're front and center. They're in the fight too. I mean, it's a group effort, all of it, and they're living their life, right? I mean, they're beautiful, vibrant kids that are living their life. They don't know it any different, but I mean, you guys are a team in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, you can have them. I mean, trust me. There's days like you can have them if you want them. I mean, I'll give all 3 of them to you.
No, you don't want to. You don't want to.
But I do. It is like, and that's the one thing we've there is a part that I think we haven't let ourselves get to. But we've always worried about our girls because like this is their normal.
Yeah.
But it's not normal. Like this is their normal.
Yeah.
But it's not normal. And I just think there's a lot of I say it as parents, there's guilt. There's guilt for a lot of reasons right now. Are we able to take care of the girls and make sure they're still special? Just based on where Blake's tumor was, we're lucky. I mean, we've had an opportunity to be able to meet a lot of families, and we're lucky that we found it when we found it. I mean, Blake's lucky to have a mom who was able to catch something off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that. My wife is a rock star for being able to do that. One day my son will be able to thank his mom for changing the trajectory of his life. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah. Right.
But my wife has been able to not only see it first, but because we caught it, his story is completely different. And there's guilt with that as parents because not every kid has that same result.
Yeah.
If this was caught when he was 14, which most of that tumor is, he's on a flight for life and he's not playing soccer and he's not doing his basketball and his baseball. It's a different story. So at some point, my son will realize how lucky he is to have the mom he has. I know how lucky I am to have my wife who's understands how to maneuver this, realize there was something that wasn't right, address it. And then together as a team, as a family, we've come together to say, like, this is our normal. But I also think as the months and weeks go on, we realize that there's still things that healing that need to happen. And ultimately we want to make sure that our girls don't feel left out because it does. But I'll say this, Mike, real quick, is there's a lot of great organizations out there that have done so many fun things. And I'm going to get this wrong and I apologize, but it's there's an organization out there that's SIBS. It's called something SIBS. It's going to escape my mind, but they send a package to the house for the girls. Like those little things that just, and it's a little, core group of people that do that. And like those things have been so important for our girls to just feel special. And that's life.
You have a very powerful Wisconsin family that is, we're all around you, Brian. I mean, we're all around you, whether it's with the power of prayer or just the thoughts that have been sent in your family's direction since this came out a few years ago. So, and that's part of the power of community too.
No
We'll
question.
continue to do it, and for the entire family, not just for Blake, but obviously centered on his health condition and hoping that it all continues to move in a positive direction for you and your family. Let me touch on that interim time of that 10-year window that you're kind of chasing around the globe, playing professionally all over the map in the world of basketball. But then it did bring you back right to where the roots were. But let's talk about that. What for people that don't know, that's a 10-year run. I don't even know. It's hard for me to count, Brian, how many different cities and teams. I don't know if could you do it chronologically? Could you walk me through and not skip a beat on step 1 through 17 in that 10-year run?
Yeah, I probably could. I hope I can. I mean, if not, it just means I'm getting older as we do this. But no, my first job out of college was in Spain. And I thought it was a full year contract. My agent did not tell me that. It was a tryout. And so we're into it for about 5 days. And I'm looking around. It's a town a little bit south of Malaga, Spain. And the fit wasn't right. Like it was a terrible fit. A little
for
bit
you
later.
or them?
Well, for both, I think.
Okay, all right. Okay.
For both, probably. But at that point, I said, okay. So I got on Skype. It wasn't like FaceTime was a thing yet.
Sure.
I got on Skype. I fired my agent at that point from Spain. Went back home, regrouped. Had to go, and then at this point, like this is an all Big Ten player, shouldn't have to go through this route. Really didn't maneuver it the way I should have. But I ended up going to Bremerhaven, Germany, on what was a tryout again. And this was in like November. So late into the year one start here. And just again, the fit wasn't right. It just, I played well, but like there was the coach didn't necessarily want me, but the GM wanted me. And like that happens all the time overseas. But so anyways, ended up I got on a train in Germany and went to a different team. So the agent sent me there. We had these initial conversations. There was another team that was interested as well in Germany, took the train down there, ended up playing for Nördling, found a great, my assistant coach, his mom actually taught me German. I went over their house every Tuesday and I was teaching. I don't know any of it now. Nothing now, but I got a great meal out of it.
There you go.
Finished the season out there. That was a team that their whole goal was don't finish last.
Yeah.
And because of regulation, so
Sure.
if you lost, you're going down. Right. So like their whole thing is we can't be last. We can't be last. Well, we weren't last. We ended up beating Bremerhaven, the team that didn't work out, right? So the last game of the year, we ended up beating Bremerhaven to stay in the top league, which was kind of funny. So then I went to Olympiakos in Athens, Greece, played there. They brought in a player. I actually played with Brent Petway from Michigan.
Oh, sure.
So it was fun, but they were going to let me go. They weren't going to pay me my salary for what I was owed for the couple of months. So I ended up buying a ticket to the game and showing up and then going into halftime and catching the owner and saying, yo, before I get on this plane, I better get some money.
Right.
So we did that. But that was a regroup then. That was an evaluation of life, is what I like to say.
Here's what I have. Now, I'm 3 countries into it, right? Yeah, you're Spain, Germany, and Greece.
Yep.
There's more.
There's more. At that point, I needed to realize, like, do I want to do this for a real job? Because I kind of suck at it. Like, if I'm going to do this, I got to get my head out of my you-know-what, and I got to play some basketball. Like, this isn't, as I always say, it's not Wisconsin basketball anymore. It's not make the right pass and you're going to be rewarded in the film session. No, you're the American. You better go score and you better go rebound. And if you don't, you're going to get your backside moved.
Right.
So at that point, and the D League at this point wasn't a league that was where it is now. But I really had to evaluate. I said, okay, let's get back to America. Let's regroup for this half season. Let's really see if I can move the direction I want to go with this. Ended up in Bakersfield, California with the Bakersfield Jam. Team hadn't won. First game I get there, we win. I hit a game winner. The first game, it was like I was the savior. And I was like,
Yeah.
we just won.
Yeah.
Big deal. What's the deal?
Right.
So had a great year there. Ended up winning the MVP there. Really enjoyed my time there. Got called up by the Denver Nuggets for the end of the season. Had another year on that deal as well. In summer league with the Nuggets, ruptured my patella tendon, and that put me out 15 months.
Yeah.
So I'm rehabbing for a full year out in Denver at that point, which was interesting to say the least. I come back. I'm starting to play some really good basketball. I play for Team USA, the Pan America Games. And then all of a sudden the NBA lockout hits. The D League at this time is still playing. So I'm in Bakersfield again. I end up going to training camp with New Orleans. And this was the year of the Chris Paul trade, or not trade, where the commissioner, David Stearns, says, hey, this isn't happening.
Yeah, can't do it.
So then they trade with the Clippers, and it's great, but there's nobody on the team. Like, this is a great spot for me to be in. A great spot. I'm starting. We're about to get on the plane in about 40 minutes, and I'm starting and I'm going to guard Zach Randolph in Memphis. Starting 5-man.
Yeah.
Saying we're getting on the plane in about 40 minutes. Well, I didn't end up not getting on the plane. Why? I was hedging a ball screen one of the last possessions, tore my MCL, tore my patella tendon in my other knee.
Yeah.
Ended up rehabbing, ended up go to back to Bakersfield. I then go to Puerto Rico and play for 2 months. I played for 2 weeks in Puerto Rico, excuse me. Pulled my hamstring. Then I had the summer to recover. I ended up having a conversation with my agent. I said, okay, let's give this one more year. I'm playing in Bakersfield. We get to about halfway through the season. I call my agent one more time and I say, where are we at? Like, I want you to make one more call around the league. If the NBA says it's not, it's time for me to start making some money. I get traded to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And when I'm in Fort Wayne, there for about 3 weeks, I get a call from a Filipino team in the Philippines, the Meralco Bolts. And I go over there. I go over there and I'm playing really well. And needless to say, their head coach didn't necessarily want me. He was given to me. So we end up playing. I've got a 40-point, 32 rebound game. Like, I'm playing really good basketball at this point. I find out they bring somebody else in to take my job. After the 40, 32-point game, I said, hey, I know you guys brought somebody in. I saw him in the stands. I go, I don't ever want to see it again. I go, not happening. And then I ended up getting food poisoning. Now, the food poisoning is a crazy story because I don't know how much of, like, I ate at the same restaurant, which was in the hotel the team provided. So there's a little bit of one of those. But, and there might have been a payoff, like, don't put anything on social media. And I said, well, how much are you going to give me? And so I think, time has elapsed enough for me to touch on that. Yeah. But at that point, went back, ended up playing in Dubai, which was awesome. Loved it. Basketball was so-so, but the paycheck was pretty good. But at that point in my career, I knew, hey, it's time to try to cash out as long as I can.
Yeah.
So I ended up then, after that year, going to Tokyo, playing with the Toshiba Brave Thunder. And I finished my last year in Fukuoka, winning a championship there. So my last 2 years in Japan, I won 2 championships. But that last year, I knew it was getting close to being done. My body hurt. Every part of me did. And people ask, like, do you miss it? I don't miss it. What I miss is the process. Coaching filled my bucket. And now being an analyst fills my bucket. Like, I enjoy breaking down film. I enjoy scouting reports and putting it together. I don't enjoy, and I don't miss, the playing. Like, I emptied my bucket. Like, my body was not great. Not many people can have as many injuries that I had and still fight through it, because it's the rehab. I mean, to have a 15-month rehab, to have a 6-month rehab, to have the rehab from the elbow injury, to have, like, so much of that really just it wears on somebody. But for me, like, I gave this game everything I had.
If you're listening to this show, you're exactly the type of Wisconsin fan that Badger Connect was built for. It simply allows the Wisconsin sports fan to get closer to the program that you loved and directly support the program of your choosing. Your membership goes to the sport that you choose, which benefits the student athlete, and it rewards you for your Badger fandom. Members get exclusive content, great prize giveaways, and behind-the-scenes access that you just simply won't get anywhere else. If you want to be part of the giveaways and the access, pro memberships start at $35 a month, with elite options available for even more access. If you want to support Wisconsin athletics and be part of the programs that you love, you can go to badgerconnect.com and join today.
Let me finish on two full circle moments. One, coming back to work with Matt LePay on Badger basketball broadcasts on the Badger Radio Network. I imagine that full circle moment is really pretty cool for you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, here's the thing, Mike, is first of all, working for BTN is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that was the first one.
Right.
And then when the job opened up to sit next to Matt, I said, if it's like, and for me, like with Mike doing it as long as he did, I wasn't ever going to be like, oh, is it open? Like that was my own. Now my thing was always like Mike Lucas had been there for a long time. Because it's always, how do you follow a guy like that's been in that seat for so long? And I'm different than I'm a goofball. We're gonna have fun. Like if I'm calling a game, Matt LePay is gonna have bruises on his shoulders when a big hits a three because I'm gonna punch him.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk through the game.
He's gonna have popcorn in his lap.
Yes, but we're gonna have fun doing this. Like this is what this is. It's a sport. Yeah. We should have fun. So to me, like being able to sit next to the Hall of Famer, being able to learn how he handles the business, and then being able to be around the guys and my teammates who are now the coaches. And the beautiful thing about it is Greg lets my family be a part of it. My kids get to grow up being a Badger without the full, commitment of being a coach. I'm always right. I'm undefeated. I haven't lost a game. I haven't won a game, but I haven't lost a game either when we call them. And it's there's something special. And here's the thing. Like people say kids have changed. I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like the kids are just as dumb as when we were kids in a good way.
Yes.
In a good way. Like when I say that, they like,
I get it.
The way that they goof around with each other, the way that they have those bonds, the way that they're connecting with each other. Like, and when I say, goofballs, like the turnovers they have, you look at and say, what are you even thinking? Like we did that. We had those turnovers where Bo, come sit next to me, Butchie. Yes, coach.
Exactly.
I know.
Right.
Like it's to see that. And then to see the kids that Greg is bringing in who are high quality, high character guys, that hasn't changed for 20 years. And it's still it's awesome.
Yeah. And then the last full circle moment brings us back to the top of the show. You're now a member of Badger Connect, and part of that is the community outreach, and part of that is connecting Badgers to Badgers. And that's really what this is. So now you're already wearing the Motion W because of your time here and because of the Badger Radio Network and other things. But now you're back with Badger Connect and doing the things that you've kind of always done organically anyway.
Yeah, it's always been a passion of mine to give back, Mike. And now with Badger Connect communities and being the director of this and really being the guy that's going to connect student athletes to students throughout the state of Wisconsin. To me, that's what brings that's the joy. I think there's something really special about being able to impact youth and to be able to fill their dreams. I haven't worked a day in my life, and I still I mean that.
No, I know
I have not had to work a day in my life yet. And to me, that is the ultimate job. I am so lucky to be in this position, to be able to connect two people that are both going to come away with it and learn something. isn't that what life is about?
Oh,
Is being able to learn
100%.
something every day.
Yep.
And you with Badger Connect on the content side of it, Jesse with the content side of it. We know about the experiences, but this third part that we've added in Badger Connect communities with the Junior Badger program that we're doing, it really is going to be a situation where you have two people that are going to benefit both, and they don't know how they're going to benefit yet.
Yeah.
And they're going to learn from each other, and they're going to explore, and they're going to have conversations, and they're going to ask questions, and they're going to do all these things. And it's not about, well, this money and this, and how do we no, it's going to organically happen. And to me, like when relationships like that organically happen, and you can sit back and a UW player can talk with a sixth grader and realize, like, that's why I'm still playing the game, and have those relationships. I think there's nothing better than that. And I think that's the goal with Badger Connect communities and the Junior Badger programs is just that.
Yeah.
There's a lot that'll go into it. We're going to give you, if you're a director, you're going to get a free Badger Connect membership. We're going to send you autographed footballs and basketballs. You're going to be able to bring your group down to Madison and be a part of it. You're going to get monthly touch points with athletes. All that's part of it. All that's really cool. There's no fee to join this. I think that's the other thing. It's not like there's, the money being exchanged to do this. This is free for the communities. This is free for the kids. It's just getting to know players that are where they want to go for the young kids. Yeah. And then it's for the older kids. And I say older kids because to me, I still think they're athletes and kids. Yeah. They get to see and tap into those eyes. I always say this when I run my youth camps. As you get to be in high school, little eyes are always watching you. And that is one of the biggest honors you'll ever have in your life. Think about it as a parent. Mm-hmm. Think about it as a role model. Little eyes are always watching you. And I think that messaging to some of the UW athletes to realize there's little eyes on me. Mm-hmm. And it's not just little eyes in Madison. It's little eyes throughout this entire state. Yeah. You have a chance to represent yourself, represent this university, really have a connection. And the beautiful thing about it is the kids that come to Wisconsin, the recruited kids, they already know that. Like, they're good kids. Yeah. And I think this just has, it's one of those things that I mean this when I said I was so lucky to be able to, have someone come to me and say, hey, Mark, come to me and say, is this something that you think fits what you want? And I say, I'm kind of already doing it. Yeah. We get to do it with a bigger platform, but I've been doing it with our sweat equity basketball camps that we've run for 16 years. That's my passion. Yeah. And as long as you're chasing a passion in life, it's not a job. And I truly mean this. Like, if there's a way that we can make kids happier, I think especially just being a kid nowadays is hard. And if we're able to help that in any way, whether it's social media, all this other stuff, bullying that's out there, there's a lot of things that makes being a middle schooler and a young child hard. If we can brighten up a day, if we can do things, mental health is a real deal. It's a real situation. Like, all these things have really good impact on the youth, but it also has a really big impact on the Wisconsin athletes as well.
Well, I'm excited to be part of Badger Connect. I joined earlier this year. We're thrilled to have you on the team as well, Brian Butch. Thanks for spending time with us on the Badger Connect podcast. I'll look forward. By the way, as a rookie, you got to get me my coffee the next time we see one another. So I'll look forward to that. Part of the hazing that goes.
I'm gonna make sure you get a big old cup of coffee.
Atta baby. Hey, Brian, thanks for jumping in and doing this. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm thrilled to have you on the team and look forward to what we get to do together and what happens next.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see where this goes, and again, excited to have a huge impact and be a part of it.
Here we go. Brian, thanks for jumping in. And thanks to you, the listener and the viewers, for watching another episode of the Badger Connect podcast.